Hey there, and welcome back. Or if you're new to my channel, my name is Katie, and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living, and welcome to you also. Today's just a Saturday after Thanksgiving, and of course, we all have leftovers. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with my leftover turkey, and I decided to make some turkey pot pie because we did have some leftover pie crust, some puff pastry. I just pulled some random things out of the refrigerator, and I thought we'd just make a pot pie together. That gives you something like an idea of what to do today. I guess it's kind of getting to the end of maybe saving the turkey leftovers before you put them in the freezer, or if you put it in the freezer already and you want to pull it out, or possibly you're going to do another turkey again at Christmas time, and an idea for you to do with your leftovers then. So we're going to make a turkey pot pie today. One of the other things I have that I pulled out was the gravy I made to go with the mashed potatoes. What I did was I looked for turkey wings. I couldn't find them in my store, so I just bought some chicken wings. I boiled those up to make some stock, and when the chicken was cooked on the bone, pulled those out, deboned the chicken, saved the chicken meat. I put the bones, the skin, and everything in the oven and roasted those really well to get some color on them. Put them back in the stock and let them finish boiling to make some broth with that. To make my gravy, I kind of let it boil down and reduce also, to kind of concentrate the flavors. So then I chopped up the chicken, put it, when I made the gravy, and put it back in there with the stock and the roux and everything to thicken that. And that's how I made my gravy. So I have the gravy also, and that's kind of be our base for the filling for the pot pie. So it's got the chopped up chicken in it. I'm going to use some peas and carrots, some potatoes, some of the leftover turkey. We'll chop that up also and put it in there. And I have some more stock left. So I guess we'll just get cooking. I'm going to chop some onion real quick, and we'll get that sauteing in the skillet. Trying to think if there's anything else I should tell you before we get started. I guess not. I guess we'll just kind of get started and go from there. So let's get cooking. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to parboil my potatoes before putting them into the filling so that they can make sure they're cooked all the way. So I'm going to heat this up or get it going. And what I'm going to use instead of water is some of my chicken stock. I'm just going to ladle some of this into the pot. Nice dark rich color from roasting those chicken bones. All right, that's probably enough. I'll put my potatoes in here and we'll see how much I need. So this was a pretty large potato. You could do 2 medium-sized potatoes or maybe 3 small potatoes, but this was like a really large potato that I've diced up here into just kind of some little bite-sized cubes. We'll get this in here, and while I'm sauteing my vegetables, we'll get these getting slightly tender. I'll put the lid on this, just kind of cracked like that so that it can heat up faster, but hopefully not boil over. So in this skillet, I'm going to turn that heat on. I'm going to put some butter in here. I really like this grass-fed butter from Costco that I get. It is salted, so I watch the salt that I add. I really like the taste of this butter. This is about 2 tablespoons of butter going in here. I have finally chopped my onion. My son doesn't like to bite into chunks of onion, so I finally chopped these so that they would cook down really well. And we'll get these in here. That's about, it was about a smallish to medium onion size. I ran out of my celery. We used that all for the dressing. So what I'm going to do is I made celery salt several months ago with you guys. My celery didn't really produce so well in the garden, and but I did have a lot of let me grab a spoon real quick. I did have a lot of green tops from the celery, and I made celery salt with that. So I'll use that to season this to give me that celery flavor. I'm going to go grab that real quick. So what I did was I just freeze dried my celery tops and I mixed it with some salt, and that's my celery salt. Get this going. Alright, I got these sauteing a pretty good amount. I'm going to add just some frozen peas and carrots. I know these fillings can kind of start multiplying once you start adding everything, and so I'm really trying to not add too much so I don't end up with a huge amount of filling, although you can freeze it and use it another time. Alright, I'm going to add my turkey that I have into here to start heating that up. I just cubed it up. We smoked this turkey. I used a butter compound that had some garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, thyme, and I think I put herb de Provence in it. If you haven't seen that before, this is the one I have, and I'll read to you. It's savory, thyme, rosemary, basil, tarragon, and lavender flowers. So that's what I used to season up my turkey, and then we smoked it with a mesquite wood. But I think going back in, I don't want so much of that lavender in here. I'm just going to add some thyme to this. And then of course that celery salt that I was talking about. It smells so good. I got these little individual pie dishes on Amazon. It was a set of 6. I'll link them in the description box. My husband likes pumpkin pie, and my mom likes pumpkin pie, and then I have a friend's husband that likes pumpkin pie, and those are the only people I know that like it. So what I did was I got these little individual dishes to make little, so I don't have to make a whole pie. I had grown some pumpkins out in the garden and roasted those in the oven and some made pumpkin pie filling. I just made some individual pumpkin pies. So I'm going to use these. I have 4 clean in here with me right now. I'm going to use these to make the pot pie today. And if I have like a whole bunch of filling, I have a regular pie pan to use also. I won't touch that, that's too hot. Like I said, these fillings just keep growing when you start making them, because you just don't know how much it's going to take. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stock that I've boiled my potatoes in the filling. Alright, I'm going to add the gravy to this that I've already made. Like I said, this is full of chicken from the chicken wings. We'll get this loosening up in here. Something I'd like to try with some leftover dressing is I've seen where you put it in a waffle iron and heat it that way, and it makes it kind of crispy and crunchy. So I do want to try that. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Let me know what you do with your leftovers. Might give me some ideas for next time. I don't want these to get too soft because I want to, them to finish cooking in the oven. So they're just getting soft. So I'm going to turn these off. Now I'm going to use a slotted spoon to get the potatoes out because I might not need all of this broth. I do want to put all the potatoes in here. And then we'll add the broth. And as you're doing something like this, you don't have to have an exact recipe. You just kind of see, you know, the ratio of vegetables, potatoes, your meat, whatever it is. If you're doing a beef, chicken, turkey, whatever kind of pot pie you're making. And then season it up accordingly to what, you know, goes with that meat product or your taste. I mean, every day your taste kind of changes to what you're thinking sounds good that day. All right, I've just kind of covered that to kind of give me an idea. I'm going to use my ladle to incorporate this hot broth. I'm going to add some milk to this too, so I don't want to put too much of just this in here. Give this a stir. I'm going to bring this up to a boil so that the flour and roux that was in the gravy can kind of thicken this up. And then when we add the cream to it, it'll even make it, I know I said milk, but we're going to do cream. Make it even thicker. All right, so this looks like it needs to be a little thicker to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of flour. I'm going to add some of this broth to it. I'm going to whisk it so that it gets the lumps out. And then I'll dump it in there. We don't want lumpy. I know it's not a gravy, but basically a gravy. All right, I'm going to use this to thicken this up a little bit more. Sometimes you just have to improvise. All right, I'm going to get a spoon and we're going to taste this. All right, it's really good. We're going to add some more pepper. We didn't actually add any, it's just whatever was in the gravy. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of this celery salt. And we'll give it another try. All right, here we go. It's really good. All right, I'm going to turn this off while we get the pastry situated in our dishes because I'm not quite sure the configuration we're going to do. All right, so I have my pie crust out here, and I think what I'm going to do is just kind of put this down to kind of get a guide of the size I need and go a little bit bigger than the edge. Go around this. We'll flip this over. There we go. All right, so that works. I'll do that again. This is homemade. It doesn't have to look like it's professionally done. All right, dust this off. The pepper's really making me sneeze. Let's see. Kind of forming it to the fluting on here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to piece and part this one. Let's see. This pie crust you can mold together and it'll turn out just fine. So put that one down. Fix that middle there. Nobody will know. As long as it doesn't leak, right? I'll just push it together. Kind of seals back on itself. I'll put this here. And just like that, I have 3 mini pot pies. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these with puff pastry that I have, and then I'm going to put this other pie crust into this pie. And this that I used this year was just refrigerated pie dough. I haven't found a homemade pie crust recipe that I'm completely happy with, so I just buy this refrigerated pie dough. All right. Make sure you go all the way up. All right, I'm gonna get the filling and we're gonna fill these. So I have my oven preheating to 375. I'm going to fill the big one first, and then I'll do the little ones as I can. So the oven's preheating, like I said, so we can get this in the oven. I can just pick it up and a little heavy. Maybe I shouldn't yet. I'll scoop a little bit more before I do that. Well, this might, now that I've filled those little ones, this might just make enough for the big one. All right, let me clean this up real quick and then we'll get the puff pastry taken care of. All right, I made a breakfast pizza this morning with some puff pastry. So I have this piece left over from that, and we'll start with this, and then I have this other one. I'll try to roll it back up in its paper. Let's see. So I can use these to cover the small ones. I'll do this. Just trim it off. Again, this is like the pie dough where it's just very forgiving. I think I let it get a little too soft. Just go around and do this. Put some slits in here. We'll do this one. When you're making something homemade and it doesn't look perfect, you can always just say it was rustic. Kind of looks like those frozen pot pies. All right, let me get this one open. So with this, we're going to have the stability of the pie crust on the bottom and then the flaky crispiness of the puff pastry on the top. Unroll this one. See about how much we need. I think this is going to be enough here. Lay this over the top. Cut off our excess. Kind of trying to seal those two together so we don't have a lot of leakage. I'll kind of stick this to the sides. I'm going to put these on a baking sheet to put them in the oven though. Then we'll cut some slits in the top. Alright, so I have my baking sheet here, and I'll put some parchment down in case there's any like leakage. It's easier to clean up. And these of course will take a shorter amount of time than the big one. And I will just have to let you know whenever they come out how long they took, because I'm just doing this in my head. I don't have a recipe I'm following or anything. So we'll get these in the oven and we'll come back when they're cool. All right, they are out of the oven, and I guess I'll give you a look. Here's what they look like. It's kind of funny how flaky this one, I don't know if it's because I crimped the edges down into the pie plate. It didn't get as flaky as these did, but I'm glad I put the parchment down because they did kind of boil over a little bit. So we're going to let these cool off for a minute, and we'll give it a taste test. I don't want to have lava in my mouth at the moment. Come see. Come here. Come here. So a couple people have commented about Little Cider Rose here that dances around in the background. She's always wanting to get a little nibble. Well, this is Cider. Cider Rose. That's my sweet girl. All right, so we rescued her off the street. My daughter found her abandoned, and she was literally skin and bones. And we took her in, and I think she must be camera shy. She's all shaking. I took her in and fattened her up. I mean, she's not really fat, but anyway. Wave to everybody. All right. I'm going to wash my hands now and get a fork, and I guess we'll taste test this. All right, so I baked them for 30 minutes. I did not take the smaller ones out any earlier. What I did was just covered them loosely with a piece of foil so they didn't continue to brown. But I left them in the pan or in the oven the same amount of time. So I left them in for 30 minutes, and that's how long they've cooked. And I don't want to burn myself, but I really want to try them. So I'm going to use a spoon so I can keep some of the juice. Not sure if I'm going to put it on a bowl. Alright, so what I did was I just set the little one in this so I can kind of hold it up here by me so I don't kill myself. Get a little taste of this flaky crust. All right, so you can see that steam. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's hot. I'm really scared to bite this. It's like lava. The thyme, I love thyme. Didn't really have thyme much growing up that I remember, and even most of my adult life. But the last few years I've really been using it. I'll try this piece of just crust. Really good. Anyway, I've been really using the thyme. Let me grab a towel. I really like it in chicken, pork, turkey, obviously. Anyway, I think it's a really good seasoning for those kind of meats. Let me get a sip of my sweet tea. Anyway, I hope this gives you an idea of something that you could cook for with your leftovers from Thanksgiving, or if you have a roasted chicken, you buy a chicken at the rotisserie chicken at the grocery store, you know, whatever it is. If you have some kind of leftovers, I love to try and repurpose leftovers so that we're not eating the same thing over and over again. Instead of just eating the roasted turkey or smoked turkey, doing it this way so you have another option. And when you have littler kids, it's easier to feed them the same food over and over again if you change it up a little bit. So I hope you give this a try. Let me know if you do. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.